Hi friends. Hello. Welcome back to my channel. I do drive with me's a lot because number one, I think they're fun. Driving is very therapeutic for me, and I am often going a lot long distances, like to and from school and stuff. So I love doing drive with me's and just like talking about whatever comes to my head during driving. And I'm sorry if this gets uneven during the drive. My tripod likes to move a lot. The weather this week has been like 97 and it's been atrociously warm. But today it's like 75. The temperature really dropped, so it feels great out today. It's like manageable. But right now I am driving back to my summer job. So if you remember last summer, I worked at this, like, it's not really a summer camp, but the easiest way to describe it is like a summer camp or like a college program for high schoolers that I attended when I was in high school, but I'm working it now, which is super cool. So I had the weekend off and I'm driving back. It's about an hour and a half or 2 hour, no, it's a 2-hour drive, so not too bad. With me's are easy because it's 2 hours of my day that I have to sit and drive, so I can film a video, might as well. But yeah, these usually end up being like life update format, basically. You see me jamming out to some tunes. I'm eating some cheese right now, the essentials, you know. So if you watch my previous video, which was just from a few days ago, my sister and I spent the entire night watching The Summer I Turned Pretty. Like, we binged the whole thing. I've read the books, like I said in the video, and the books kind of run together in my brain, so I need to like reread them because I think it's hard for me to separate the endings of book one and like the end of book one and the start of book two and the end of book two and the start of book three. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about my thoughts because I didn't really talk about it in the video because the video is already so long. So, for the show, I was obviously super excited because, I mean, To All the Boys is a masterpiece, the book and the movie. But when I had watched To All the Boys, I hadn't read the book yet. And so I read the book after already having seen the movie. So, like, obviously I already pictured, like, Lana Condor and Noah Centineo and, like, all of those people. But I really fell in love with Jenny Han's writing. Like, I think she's incredible. So I read, my sister was like, you need to read The Summer I Turned Pretty. And I was like, okay. At first I was like, do I want to read this? Like, this is like the reading level is like lower than what I read now, obviously, because it's for young adults. It's not like a bad reading level. It's just, I was like, do I want to read this? It's for like a younger audience, but like obviously I eat up things that are for younger audiences because I'm still a young adult in my brain. And I guess I am technically. But I read it, loved the first book, waited a little bit to read the second and the third book because I read the first one in the fall and it was making me really depressed because it wasn't summertime. So I was like, I'm gonna read the second and the third one later. So I read the second and the third one recently and the third one in one sitting, like I said in the video. But yeah, I just fell in love with them. In the books, book 1 and 2, I was like full-blown Team Jeremiah, right? Like, I just loved Jeremiah. I was like, Conrad is just too annoying. He's too like broody. He's like obnoxious, like older brother vibes. Like in other shows and books, I feel like it's like the older brother that everyone's in love with, but like he's just so annoying that no one would ever date him. Kind of the Kissing Booth vibes a little bit. Like, he reminded me of Noah from the Kissing Booth. And I was like, I don't know if I like this guy. Then book 3 came around and I was like, literally marry Conrad. Like, don't marry Jeremiah. It felt so forced. It just felt so incredibly forced. And I was like, I don't like Jeremiah anymore. So I was Team Conrad in the third book. Then the show comes along. And like, Chris Bridie, I just like can't. Like, I'm so hyper-fixated on Conrad Fisher. Specifically. Like, I just can't. Like, he's not a real person, but I wish he was. Like, oh my god. It's like, he makes me so giddy. As my friend said, he makes her giggle like a schoolgirl. Like, yeah, obviously. That show is incredible. I just rewatched it all again yesterday. I was up until like 2 a.m. again last night watching it because I can't get enough. And it's all over my TikTok, so I can't escape it. And I'm not mad about it. But I want to talk a little bit about like the show because I feel like a lot of times when there's adaptations to books, there's a lot of talk about like how much they stayed on character. I saw a lot of people saying that Conrad and Jeremiah were not how they pictured them, which I understand, like everyone has their own vision. I think when I read the first book, they had already released like the preliminary cast photo, like the one of them all on the beach. So I think I kind of had an idea, but honestly Conrad is how I pictured him. Like tall, brunette, like kind of like Timothée Chalamet looking, I guess, slightly. Like he kind of has the similar vibe. Not Lola. Belly is exactly how I pictured her. Like that is how I pictured Belly. So she's perfect casting. Lola Tung, mad talented. But I really, really adore the show. I really do. Like, I know they changed a lot, but I think in my head, in my heart, really, I'm fine that they changed things because Jenny Han was so heavily involved. Like it's like her baby of a show. And since she's so heavily involved, I'm like appreciative of the changes. Like I really like the plot changes, and honestly the first book is so good in book format, but I think it would be slow for a TV show. So I think she made good decisions changing things. And I'm excited because it kind of leaves me guessing as to what season 2 and 3 are gonna be, because obviously the things that happened with Jeremiah didn't happen in the first book. So I think it's gonna be really kind of cool, and it keeps the audience on their toes, which is really nice. And obviously I love the summer vibes of the show. The aesthetic is incredible. Can't get enough of it. That's why I watched it so many times. And I just keep thinking about Conrad Fisher. But yeah, I think she did an incredible job. As a standalone show, it is wonderful. As a TV show adaptation, it is perfect. I could go on and on about the soundtrack. I've seen a lot of different critiques of the soundtrack. I personally think it's one of the best soundtracks of a TV show ever. And the reason for that is because even though the songs might not always fit what's happening, like 1 step forward, 3 steps back, like in that moment it doesn't really fit what's happening in the montages that they're showing necessarily. But if I'm being honest, like it doesn't really matter. But the reason I think it's one of the best soundtracks that honestly probably TV in the modern day has seen is because they know exactly who their audience is. Like, they're so hyper aware of who is watching their show that they pick songs that they know that their audience listens to. Like, Olivia Rodrigo and Taylor Swift are my most 2-streamed artists other than like Harry Styles. They also had Harry Styles references in the show 2 times. So they didn't have a Harry Styles song, but they referenced him. So they know exactly what they're doing. Billie Eilish, same audience. Jack Harlow, obviously. Like everyone simps over Jack Harlow. Like in that same genre, you know what I mean? Or like that same group of people. Like it's just, it is perfect. And I could go on and on about how they used Taylor Swift songs perfectly for Conrad and Belly moments only, and how it almost kind of made me cry because I feel like, oh, how Taylor Swift and like is kind of the soundtrack of my life, and like the fact that I could put Taylor Swift songs on my cinematics playlist, which are songs that I know from movies and shows, was so heartwarming to me. And how when I listen to That's the Way I Loved You, I will now think about Conrad and Belly. Like that's just so refreshing to me. I used to think about Noah and Allie from The Notebook, and now I think I'm gonna think about Conrad and Belly. And guys, I moved you over because you were like directly in the sun. But I'm in the drive-thru line now because I physically can't go anywhere without getting a McDonald's Coke to satisfy me. But yeah, I just thought I would chat it up so I don't have to do it while I'm driving. Because this drive-thru line is really long. But yeah, I'm in Cheese right now. No other live update. I don't really have many live updates. My summer is gonna be pretty exciting. I'm very excited. I'm gonna be a junior in college, which is kind of crazy. And my sister just graduated high school, so she's gonna be going to college. Yeah. I've been going to a lot of auditions and self-taping and really trying to work on my craft. And summer is the perfect time for that. I had quite a few auditions last week that I had to self-tape for because I was at my job and couldn't travel. But yeah, I don't know. basically, I just wanted to talk about the summer I turned pretty some more. And the fact that there are 5 Taylor Swift songs in the show is kind of suspicious to me. And like, obviously Taylor Swift's a very popular artist. We know this, but we also know that if her song's in something, it means she's usually like involved in some way, which obviously she is because of This Love. Like, she released This Love for The Summer I Turned Pretty. But the fact that there is 5, like, I know I'm reading too much into it, but it's Taylor Swift, and she has trained me to read too much into it. 1989 is her 5th album. It was definitely supposed to come out last year, like this time last year. I know it was. All the signs were pointing to it. But like that, there's been that copyright thing going on with it recently. Which is probably why, I'm sorry to be eating with my mouth open while I'm talking, but which is probably why it's not released yet. Which makes sense. But I'm just like, she keeps me on my toes. There's definitely something happening because it's weird to me that there hasn't been anything about a new re-recording. There's also tour rumors swirling around, which, like, I would love for her to tour again, obviously. But I almost feel like she's just gonna do one big tour after everything's out and like be done for a little bit, which makes me sad. But I don't really think it makes sense for her to like tour next summer if all the re-recordings aren't out. And I find it really weird that she would release all the re-recordings by next summer, because that's quite a few. It's like 4 more albums. I'm on my toes. And yeah, it's a short little life update video. I'm trying to upload as much as I can, but with my summer program it's gonna be kind of hard. Which is why I like doing videos like this. So, thank you for watching. I know it was short and sweet, and I just talked about the summer I turned pretty again. But that's what my life is about right now. It's about the summer I turned pretty. I'm going on vacation at the end of the summer, and I'm going to be trying to recreate the vibe. Obviously. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video, I guess. Goodbye.